From the Detroit Free Press, it's Tuesday, May 5th. Here are today's top stories. Brought to you by JB's Smokehouse, located inside Bush's Fresh Food Market of Canton. JB's offers a range of authentic barbecue favorites, and with more than 30 Michigan craft beers on tap, trivia, and live music every Friday night, JB's is sure to become your new favorite barbecue spot.
For the Detroit Free Press, I'm Kerry Jr. The Michigan Health Department reports over 196 new cases of the novel coronavirus and 86 new deaths. In total, there are nearly 44,000 cases and over 4,100 deaths statewide. Governor Gretchen Whitmer is receiving more pressure from federal officials. On Monday, U.S. Representative Paul Mitchell of Dryden Township in Michigan sued Whitmer in federal court. The suit alleges violations of constitutional rights to travel, rights to self-govern, due process, and more. Mitchell alleges the governor's order to extend the state of emergency without legislative approval violates the Emergency Management Act. He says the order shuts out the legislature, therefore violating the separation of powers clause in the Michigan Constitution. The State House and Senate are also planning a lawsuit over Whitmer's executive powers. Today is the first election in Michigan since the state confirmed its first cases of the coronavirus. Governor Whitmer is doing what she says is necessary to prevent the spread at voting locations.
The fewer people we have lining up at polling places, the better.
Back in March, Whitmer signed an executive order expanding absentee ballot voting. Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson says about 740,000 ballots were mailed out in preparation for today's election. According to Benson, turnout for the election is projected to double the average voting numbers for May elections.
Even in times of great uncertainty, people want to vote and they want to weigh in on important local issues.
Secretary Benson says one voting location will be open for each jurisdiction with an election. For more information about a location, contact your local clerk at michigan.gov/vote. To reduce the likelihood of contracting COVID-19, people are looking to purchase personal vehicles. A survey done by consulting company Capgemini found that people who have never owned a vehicle are now considering it. The consultant surveyed 11,000 potential buyers across 6 countries. Results show that 45% of people ages 35 and under are considering getting a car, and most of them have never owned a vehicle. Public transportation may take a hit in the U.S., as 51% of Americans said they are less likely to take public transportation this year. Global results show people say personal vehicles are safer than public transit. But even with growing interest, just under half of respondents globally say it's unlikely they will purchase a vehicle this year. That's the latest. For more information on COVID-19 in Michigan, visit www.freep.com.
I'm Susan Tompor, and I'm a columnist with the Detroit Free Press. Roughly 20 million people remain in the wings waiting for their stimulus payments, known as economic impact payments. Families could receive $1,200 or $2,400 or more to help with their mortgage and other bills during the economic meltdown that has been part of the fight against the coronavirus. The Internal Revenue Service said more than 130 million payments have already been released since the first wave began on April 15th. Who's still waiting? Some people who paid taxes for 2018 or 2019 and didn't get a direct deposit of a tax refund check may still be waiting for the stimulus payment. And some who had a hard time using the Get My Payment portal at irs.gov to add direct deposit information also may be waiting. Many consumers who took out tax refund advance products when they worked with the tax preparation service in the past now must wait for a stimulus check, an actual check in the mail, after a glitch has involved those systems. If you're still waiting, you can look online and go to irs.gov and look at some of the recent updates for commonly asked questions about why some people may still not have received their payments.
I'm Susan Solaski, Detroit Free Press food writer. Consumers now face limits on buying meats as processing plants suspend or slow down operations because of COVID-19 outbreaks. Costco is temporarily limiting fresh beef, pork, and poultry to a total of 3 packages per member. Kroger and Meijer stores imposed limits on some meats days ago. Meijer says the limits may vary from store to store. Kroger is limiting purchases on ground beef, pork, and chicken. Last week, Tyson Foods warned in a full-page ad that the food supply chain is breaking. Days later, President Donald Trump signed an executive order aimed at keeping beef, chicken, and pork processing plants open to avert shortages. While it's been stressed amid the pandemic that there's enough food in the supply chain, those in the industry say what's available may not be your favorite cuts due to the processing slowdowns.
I'm Kirkland Crawford with the Free Press Sports Department and an early preview of the Detroit Lions 2020 schedule. The NFL is supposed to give us the wins and wheres at some point this week, but we got an early insight on where the Lions won't be playing this season. The league announced Monday that the previously scheduled international games in London and Mexico City have been canceled. It was all but confirmed that the Lions were going to be one of the opponents for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who were scheduled to play back-to-back weeks over in jolly old England. But now the Lions will play the Jags down on the First Coast in Northeast Florida. Not a bad place to visit, especially during a chilly autumn or a winter that comes too early. But we don't know exactly when that game will be, or if it will happen at all, as the world continues to wrestle with the coronavirus pandemic.
For more stories from the Detroit Free Press, be sure to check out freep.com. That's FREEP.com. If you're a fan and want to support our quality local journalism, subscribe. Go to freep.com/special offer. See you tomorrow.